Hey, what up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you. Finally, the car alarm in the background has turned off. Somebody hit a car with a shopping cart, and for 2-3 minutes, I had to put off this video, waiting for them to turn off the alarm, or maybe the alarm just to stop on its own. I couldn't tell, but when I got done making the Seth Rollins video, I got in the car and I started to make my way to work, and I was listening to the Bauer and Pollock podcast, one of my favorite wrestling podcasts there is out there. I put this show over any chance that I could get, and they went over one of the biggest wrestling rumors of last week, and it's one of the main reasons why I'm listening to a lot of the podcasts from last week is I missed all of the news. I really wasn't, well, I guess the people that follow me aren't going to agree with that, but I wasn't really on Twitter all that much. I posted things to Twitter, but I didn't really go through my timeline all that much. I don't look at the dirt sheets the week of WrestleMania, so that way, my WrestleMania experience is pretty much spoiler free. I think my thing is I normally just stop looking at them the night before I leave, and then everything stays clean. But one of the big stories that was coming out last week was that Lucha Underground was going to be closing down, not completely. They're not putting the show out of business. It's just saying that it's going to be shut down until the start of the new year, which is a little bit weird, seeing how it's only March going into April, and they're not going to be shooting a new season of the show. I know that it's supposed to be more like a seasonal television show, where a television show will run for a good 6 to 8 months, no matter how many episodes are ordered. There'll be weeks skipped due to holidays or due to weeks that other things are going to air that's on the network, and then there's reruns or whatever it is. It's not like a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown, where week in and week out, no matter if it's a holiday or anything this lands on, there's going to be a live television show that's shown on TV that day, no matter if they have to pre-tape it. But they're going to make sure that there's new television. But it's kind of weird. I know that Lucha Underground, the first week, it seemed like everyone in the wrestling world was out there tweeting about it, saying that this is going to be a fresh, hip, new show. Make sure you go out of your way to see it. And then when the ratings came out, it turns out that it was a lot of people just tweeting about it, trying to keep the wrestling spirit alive, and a lot of people didn't go over to the El Rey Network and check this out. But as Conan has said on the MLW podcast, this is a show that has grown its ratings 3 times from what they were when they first debuted. So it is a show that is picking up momentum. This is a show that is still spending money on free agent wrestlers, bringing in Alberto Del Rio. And then he hasn't really put the pen to paper. The signing hasn't really happened yet. It's not official that Rey Mysterio is going to be joining Lucha Underground, but I think it's just a technicality of when. I think that they didn't want to sign Rey Mysterio to a contract and then not have him, being used on shows. I think that basically, more than likely, Mysterio and the company have agreed to terms. It's just a matter of, we'll sign you when we know we're going to use you. That way we're not wasting these contracted dates on dates that aren't being used. But I was really looking forward to Lucha Underground becoming a main screen show. I know that Impact Wrestling, I know I listened to a lot of the results. I haven't watched the show since they switched over. It's just not on my radar. A lot of people are saying that the show is getting better. But it seems like it's losing a lot of ratings, and there's a lot less people paying attention to the product. Lucha Underground seems like something that people really could get behind. You've got John Morrison, you've got Ezekiel Jackson, 2 guys that I honestly really like are wrestling over there. 2 big stars in Mysterio and Alberto Del Patron, or El Patron. Yeah, I think that sounds better. Joining the roster. It's just old habits die hard. I'm still going to call him Del Rio, I think, even if he becomes this big champion in Mexico and in Lucha Underground, ROH. He can win all of those under whatever name he wants to, but he's always going to be Del Rio to me. But it seems like a fun show to watch. I watched it a lot on YouTube. I know that they joined up with the that app that came out. I think it was I can't remember what it was called, but for only $20 you get a whole bunch of television stations. Twitch app, something like that. $20, you get a whole bunch of live television. The only problem is there's no on demand, there's no DVR feature, so you either watch it live or you miss it. And that was one of the reasons why I just sort of thought that $20 didn't really seem like what I thought it was going to be. But once it finally does, come together and you have an online sort of cable network, think it's going to be pretty good, pretty fun stuff. But kind of weird to see Lucha Underground shutting down. Hopefully it comes back sooner than later. I guess the reasoning that they're giving is that there's been promises made to another television show, and they have first billing over Lucha Underground. So they're going to be working on that show instead of working on the Lucha show. But hopefully they find a way to get this show up and running. Seems like something that a lot of people really get behind, and it could be something that really grows in popularity here in the States. So see what happens with Lucha Underground.